There we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm Claire Jones. I'm an author, speaker, and mentor. I own Claire Jones Publishing, and I'm committed to changing the world for the better through inclusive stories and practices. So I'm jumping on today to talk to the amazing and inspiring impact makers in my network to discuss the transitions that have shaped our lives and businesses. This is the Visionaries in Transition Facebook Live series. So if you're joining us, please like, comment, share below. Let us know that you're here. And today I'm talking to Lynn,
Hi.
who is just basically a sales queen, right?
The queen of sales.
Yes. I mean, you have queen in the title, so we might as well use it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, my business is called Petite to Queen. So,
Yeah.
we're always talking about the queens and the princesses and all the above.
Yes. At all, really. So tell us about your backstory. How did you get to where you are today?
Oh my goodness. Well, if you look at it from sales, I started selling when I was a Girl Scout and I wanted the cookie badge, which you did not get unless you sold literally a truckload of cookies. And I had a best friend. She was the most shy and introverted person. I hauled her with me, and she took the money and gave them the cookies, and I was out front bringing them in. And we had a great system, and we were the only two girls in our entire district to get that cookie badge.
Holy cow.
And so, and it's easy to sell something that you love and that you're passionate about. I was passionate about being a Girl Scout. I stayed in Girl Scouts through high school, and I, I'm sorry, but, do you not love a samosa? Come on, but the sales part of my career really started after college, after graduate school. And it was one of those things that I love helping and serving others. That is sort of my core thing. And you do that in sales every day. That's what, to me, sales is. It's a way to help your clients, to move them forward, to help them as individuals, their business, their team, their community. And you're creating an impact that they then use that and create impact with their community or with their clients. So it's been fantastic. When you talk about transitions, that's sort of been my whole life, is and it's a journey. And sometimes I like to say I'm the poster child of taking the long road around to travel a short distance. But the journey's been amazing.
I love that. Because all of our roads look different. Like no one's road is the exact same as anyone else's. And, sometimes they curve, sometimes they dip, sometimes they go completely sideways.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah. Transitions shape all of our lives. Like we can't escape them. It's a fact of life, like death, taxes, transitions.
Yeah, but why would you? That it's just creating new opportunities. There's new ways to develop personally and professionally. And so that's one of the most exciting things. Change is always uncomfortable to some extent, but it also presents all kinds of new things that it's like, well, I wouldn't want to go back. I wouldn't want to be there anymore. I love where I am. I actually love where I am. Yeah, totally. So what are these transitions that have shaped your journey? What are the big ones? Well, definitely, I started my sales career working for a small business. And then as that business grew, then I moved to a much bigger company and then that company had multiple plants. And then all of a sudden that company became part of a corporation. I climbed the corporate ladder. I ended up being a high-level executive, being flown all over the world to close multi-million-dollar deals. And then, the transition of deciding to run my own business, to start my own business, and, personally transition of getting married, having a child, my husband passing, and multiple family members passing and, moving, all kinds of stuff, starting my own business, starting my TV show, so many different transitions. Life is full of them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk about the more recent ones, like the TV show, I think is one of the most recent ones. So talk us through that transition, like the beginning, middle, where we are now.
2022 was a very eventful year on that level because I had the opportunity, found out about the Win-Win Women Network early on. A mutual friend of ours, Leslie Nace, she signed up right at the very beginning, launched her TV show. I thought about it, but I was in the middle of launching my first group program. Most of my work has been sales consulting, has been with private clients. And so this was the first time I had done a group program. And I was very focused on that. I will like to say it was a huge success. That was one of those things. That's a transition. I learned that I can sell to people in wildly divergent, or train and help people in wildly divergent industries all at the same time. Because before that was sort of a new thing for me. So as I got that launched and it was going, I could see Leslie was on the show. She was already streaming on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. And I went, man, I really want to do this. And then it's like, well, how does this fit into my strategy? Well, because I'd gone through that big transition of discovering that, heck yes, I can train people in multiple industries at the same time, very different. And so how would the TV show serve this? How does that move us forward?
Totally.
And so I signed up and I became a show host in June. I planned for 3 months. I'm a planner.
I love that.
And what we were going to do, and then launch the show. My show started streaming within 3 weeks to Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Roku, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Normally you have to apply. They told me, we'd like to start streaming your show. And I was like, oh, okay. And as time goes on, now I'm actually on the executive committee at Win-Win Women. So that's sort of cool, right? But it's an amazing community. And that TV show is that opportunity for me every week to train on sales strategy, to help women all over the world, learn how to get more clients, and feel great about it and feel great about who they're serving and how they're doing that. And so, the strategies that actually work. And honestly, every week they learn something that they can implement that week so that they're ready for next week. And they make a change for the better, move forward, pivot, transition.
Yeah, right.
To get more clients. And so the TV show was a pretty big deal for me because I've been doing my podcast, of course, for a long time. I had transitioned to a video podcast years ago, but it was a totally new thing. And especially watching the time, starting exactly I started 8 a.m. Pacific, and it was this morning, Wednesday, and I end at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. That was hard. And I would find myself the first month and a half, I'd either be starting to try to find filler or I was talking really fast.
Yeah.
And even now, but I've gotten you just get more comfortable with it, right? You learn by doing.
Totally.
And nobody just jumped off a tricycle and got on a bike and took off.
Right.
I don't know about you. I had skin chin, elbows and knees, but I still got on, eventually was riding that bike all over the neighborhood.
Yeah. And this brings up the next question of the lessons you learned along the way. And I'm particularly interested in this lesson that you were talking about, that decision about whether it was a worthwhile endeavor for you and your business or not. Because I think that's what trips up so many people. They get in that analysis paralysis. Is either they jump on the bandwagon just because everyone else is jumping on the bandwagon and don't really put a lot of thought behind it, or they put too much thought behind it and don't actually do anything.
Yeah, I mean, you can be both sides. So first of all, if you are somebody who's a catalyst, a high action, you could be someone who's literally always chasing the shiny object.
Yes, totally.
And that's where you need that strategic plan and vision, so that, it's not that you don't want to take action, but that you stop and say, okay, wait a minute. Is this a shiny object? Is this really going to fit what we're doing and why we're doing it, and how do we serve others. So when you look at that core strategy and everything, and honestly, running your business, sales is the number one thing about running your business, because if you can't sell something, you are not going to stay in business.
Right.
Okay. I don't care how great the widget is or how great your service is. If you can't sell it, you're closing down, period.
Yeah.
So understanding that the sales side of the strategy, how does this serve our clients? Why does this deliver? How does this answer their why? Why does it matter to them? What problem does it solve? What area of concern? And so they can what? So with my TV show, so they can every week, they can move their business forward. Now for me, then you reverse, how does this serve me? Well, I'm gaining a literally millions of people of audience. It's just growing. It's not millions yet. Okay. But that audience is growing, and I have more exposure, more reach. It gives me the ability to make that connection, to create the spark and the connection for my ideal clients. So then they will come into our membership programs so that I can work with them. And I can develop those relationships to help them move forward and to have a thriving business that generates the revenue and the lifestyle that they desire.
And I think it's important that you brought up before too, that you have to understand your own desires and needs throughout this as well. Like having a show every Wednesday, 8 a.m. I can't do that. And I've had to learn over the years that I can't force myself into that cookie cutter version of whatever that strategy is. Because I've tried that. I've been all right, I'm going to do 3 Facebook Lives a week, every day at 1 p.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But after 3 weeks of it, I'm completely over it because I value flexibility in my schedule.
Yeah.
And so I found over time, the lessons that I learned was that I had to just jump on live when it fit the schedule for the day, rather than beating myself up for not wanting to be on screen at 1 p.m. on a random Tuesday, and you really have to make those decisions for yourself and be okay, what's going to serve my customer the best? And that flip side is what's going to serve me the best and my company the best with this decision.
Oh, absolutely. And even doing your own show, there are ways that you can add flexibility and spontaneity into it. You can pre-record your episodes. Totally. You can create a partnership with somebody else so that they go on and play your show so that it is delivering live. If you need to take a break because you've had, a health issue, or there's been a transition in your life, you can take the show can go on hiatus briefly. So I think that, that's the other thing, is you can look at things in a different way. It's okay, well, how can I bring that on?
Yeah.
And
totally.
So for me, I've never done a Facebook Live on a regular. I mean, I've done them a few times for a challenge or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was changing my operation, in that sense. But on the other hand, it's just been great. I have to say, it's been really great. And, you learn things along the way. You learn that, okay, I've got to have a backup plan if I'm sick or I can't do the show. And what is that? And so it's been, once again, those transitions.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, what is 1 or 2 practices or tools that you've used over these transitions to support yourself, either mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, because we're talking about honoring ourselves in this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is that I use the powerful pause. So the powerful pause, I use it both for myself personally. I use it in my business, but that's where you just take a moment for yourself. And even if you're having a conversation with someone, it's just stopping, taking that moment and really digesting what they've said. So that you can actually think about and then formulate a response. But when you're doing that for yourself, sometimes it's you've got somebody calling, you've got emails bombarding, you've got a deadline. And it's just taking that moment to go, okay, wait a minute. All right. Breathe in, take that moment, and then just reframe your mind. Think of something, think of a happy thought, think of some memory, think of some vision of where, and then breathe in and deeply, and then feel the emotion, and then release. And now, then you have taken that pause for yourself. You've literally, it's like turning your iPhone on and off to reset its little brain.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing. And it's like, okay, what needs to be done first? And also don't beat yourself up. That's the other thing, is you have to have the grace to choose and say, this doesn't serve me, and I need to let it go. And there's a process that you can go through the same thing. Think about like all the happy experiences that you have, sort of think them through and say, I love this part. And I'm so glad I have this memory, but I'm releasing you and letting you go.
Yeah.
And then you go through that. And then at the end, you say, I release you, I let you go. And you just let it go. So I had a podcast that I think our last episode aired in March or April, that I was interviewing people specifically around business and it was called Future Forward Sales. And it really wasn't serving us. And I'd also started my group program. I decided to do the TV show, and I thought about using that for the TV show, but I went, no, I'm just going to let it go. And I could have rebranded the podcast. I've done that to Claim Your Career Crown. I rebranded it, but I just went, no, I'm just letting it go. And so it's there. I mean, if I ever want to do an episode, I can, but for right now, it's just, I let it go. And it was, that's okay. So don't beat yourself up so much, and recognize that sometimes you need to let go of some things so that you can take those opportunities, take that sideways trip that's going to give you so much more.
Yeah.
And so those are like the two things. And my third one is, you've got to learn to say no, especially for women, and to say no with grace. But, I know that for myself, I have the immediate thing of saying yes. I mean, the other day I had somebody who said, well, I'd love to have you do this, and I went, I can't, and it was just like, oh yes, she wanted me to review her book because she's getting ready for a book launch. She really wanted to have me read it and review it. And I was said to be an ARC reader. And I went, I would love to be able to do this for you. I respect and admire you. I know this is going to be brilliant, but I can't commit to that.
Yeah.
My plate is full.
Yeah.
And so even though my heart screamed to say yes, I am using that powerful pause to say, don't say yes, stop. Because timing is everything. And I can't add that to my plate right now.
Yeah.
And because if I make a commitment, I'm going to do what I say I'll do.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm not going to say yes to something and then just not do it. I mean, that's just the worst. So
I mean, it's a way to build self-trust.
Yes.
Because you're trusting yourself to set those boundaries so that you can trust yourself to fulfill your responsibilities that you've already agreed to.
Yeah.
Or even trusting your decision-making process and trusting that's like, yes, I am making the right decision here. Even though my heart is pulling me in another direction, I know that I am making the right decision, even if it doesn't feel good in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like, we were supposed to launch our membership program this week, and it's now next week. Now I could just make some big hissy fit over that, or, how does that serve me? It just, or I can say there were things that we needed to, we went through the holidays, and there's just things that we still needed to get done. And it's not analysis, but it's not perfectionism, but it's having it the best that it can be. for when we launch.
Yeah,
So yeah, so
yeah.
now it's next week, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
It is okay. In fact, sometimes it's better because then I know that even though we had done the web, I actually made a bunch of edits to the website landing page and the other things. And actually went in a different direction for some of our content and for our promotional content that I'm really happy about, because I let it sort of percolate and think about it. And I had finished some other work for another client that actually sparked this. Oh,
those juices.
I could do this because I'm telling my client to do this. So why wouldn't I be doing this?
Yeah, right. Taking our own medicine is kind of the hardest process sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're always the cobbler's children, right, with no shoes.
Right. Right. Well, anything you want to add before we wrap up?
No, I just think, Claire, thank you so much for having me here today. And it's such a pleasure. And I'm so glad that we reconnected yet again. We've been in each other's worlds now for some time. And that is really special. And I'd love to hear about your next book. Please make sure you tell me about your next book.
Yeah.
And I'd love to share it with my audience so they can get their first good read of that week.
Yeah. Well, I'm officially at 65,000 words for the second novel, so it should be, hitting critical mass here soon. All right. Well, this is powerful stuff that we're talking about today. And audience, we definitely encourage you to share your own insights and stories and transitions and thoughts with us as well. We'd love to know how transitions have impacted you in your own lives and businesses. So special thanks to Lynn for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Yay. So please comment, like, subscribe below. Check out Linktree/Claire Joyance for all of my links. And then where can people find out more about you?
Petite and the digit 2 Queen, petite2queen.com. We have tons of resources to help you in your sales and to help you create that spark, the attraction and connection with your clients to grow your business and fulfill on your promises as an individual, organization, and business.
I love that. So I'll make sure that the links are in the comments and description for ease of access. But then next time, please remember that your authentic self is extraordinary. It is wonderful. And you owe it to yourself to create the elevated life that you know you are capable of. Take care, everyone.